This is the 2025 channel brand and aesthetics video. I went over like the markets and defined them kind of by the music. So now I'm going to show you how to like kind of categorize the art and take care of that. And this is building off of the how to build a bingeable channel section. I'm going to teach you guys how to do that. I'm going to teach you what are the main aesthetics that are working right now. How do you do them? Also, like, what is our goal? What's like the thought process behind them? And yeah, and I'm going to show you like basically everyone uses Pinterest, which you're going to find out. But also I want to show you, and I have another video coming after this of how to do these art styles in Midjourney and how that gives you like complete freedom and actually gives you like an opportunity to stand out. Because as you'll see in this video, as soon as I go to Pinterest, you're gonna be like, oh, seen that one before, seen that one before. And then our goal with this is like, we're trying to answer the question of like, what visual style will attract the type of customer we're trying to attract. You have to have like a category or like a cohesive theme so that like once they find your channel, it's like, oh, this is all the stuff I love. And that's how you get subscribers. So let's see. Yeah. And then at the end, I'm going to go over and you'll see them throughout like 3 major channels that like absolutely like nail the aesthetic. And I'll show you just how effective it is. And then like, yeah. And just a comment I have about it is like nowadays you have to be just as much of a visual artist to succeed in the type beat game. You have to understand the branding just as much as you do the music, if not more. I really think the packaging and the thumbnail and the channel aesthetic and the art style is actually probably more important than the music. It's probably like 60-40 maybe, which is pretty crazy. A lot. It's counterintuitive, but it makes a ton of sense. So yeah, so I'm just going to go through all the aesthetics, like kind of the main important ones, the ones that you like are working today, are relevant in 2025, and that like I think are worth knowing about. I'm going to go over them, kind of describe them, and then I'm going to show you how they're done. All right. So first, like aesthetic I want to start with is like, I call it like the modern R&B, like party girl aesthetic. Example of that is Vitals. He does it very well. So you probably like recognize the vibe. It's like, I'd call it like 90s girl. I mean, we don't even need them. Well, yeah, actually. So it's like party girl with like out having fun, kind of the 90s aesthetic. I'm pretty sure they take it with like these camcorders, or they have like these vintage filters that they put on after fact, or they have these vintage filters that they put on after the fact. But yeah, so I mean that's a dope way he synced it up with the tempo. But then you also have like, see, look, that's another Vitals one. There's another one in that style, another one. That one also would be the style. Another one, and then let me see if we keep going. Another one, like you kind of know, you can kind of get the vibes. Yeah, see, I mean, it just works for like, to me, this aesthetic, like what type of customer does it attract? It attracts R&B artists who like going out, make music for women, also like make music for like guys that like the same thing, like that are just like really into that. And that's kind of the vibe. I mean, it's fairly simple. How do you stand out in this category? That might be a good thing for me to say for each one is like, how do you stand out? You just pick the best pictures. And one thing I'll say is sometimes people put out like these girls, they're like a little too much, we'll just say. And it's like, you want to make sure you attract people for the right reason, because that will get clicks. I'm not going to lie. It's like, that's human nature. But like, I think the more subtle ones like this, like these vibes, like the tasteful, subtle ones, they kind of put off like the right vibe and they attract people for the right reason. Some of the ones that are a little too out there, you'll get people to listen, but it's like borderline distracting, to be honest, I think. Yeah. And then like, where do you get these from? Like Instagram's a spot. Like this is such an Instagram aesthetic, like picture app style. I'm sure you can find it on Pinterest too. Let's see, 90s. I mean, you can start to find it a little bit on Pinterest. There will be some Pinterest. Like I could see that one kind of, but I really think Instagram is the go-to. And you can even see that shouts out shot by faces. So you can go see. And just an example of like, just to keep in mind of like you really have to become like a student of like the style that you're doing. So you'll notice that these have like the 90s, like it looks like it was like either on a camcorder or vintage like 90s cam. It's like girls having fun. And you can see like these ones would all work so much better, in my opinion, than not that one, but than like this one. Because this one looks like it was like a 2024, 2025, just like clear shot. So it just like, this seems like the music is going to be doper. So it is like kind of just a feeling, and that's something you're going to have to work on, is like study the aesthetics and then try to connect the feeling that they put off. And like artists know this on a subconscious level. And the way you can train yourself, I mentioned it in the main video, is just start clicking on beats and be like, let's find one not from Vitals of like, okay, like this is also associated with either the Drake vibe, Tory Lanez vibe, or like this, or like the sexy drill vibes, but like or the Jersey Club, yeah, too. R&B vocals as well. So you'll start to, yeah, just that's a good way to train yourself, is just click on videos and try to guess the feeling. And like the more accurate you get, like over time, you'll get more and more accurate. Let's move to the next one. I call this like, I don't really have a great name for it, but it's like kind of classical Renaissance artwork. It's like a lot of like Greek statues, iconic kind of like Roman, like king, kind of like Renaissance king vibes. And God made me strong. We'll just pull up a few. So like that's the vibe. Let's see what else we got. I'm sure we can find a few more. That's the vibes right there. That's the vibes right there. So that's also like the vibes if like you zoom in. That's the vibes right there. Kind of in the same world, but not really. Kind of in the same world. Somewhat. So yeah, and then like I think we have another one. Yeah, so that's like also the vibes. That one maybe a little as well. So like how would you find that one? Pinterest. So once we start going to Pinterest, so you're just gonna start seeing the same thumbnails and you're like, oh, that's how they found that one. Oh, that's how they found that one. That the girl aesthetic is like the only one that I think IG is like the main spot for. The rest is all Pinterest, and then I'm gonna do a video later. I think the real move, and then but Midjourney is an opportunity to bring a new unique style based off like these kind of fundamentals that I'm talking about here. Like some of these can be fire. Like I think my Pinterest is already like somewhat trained. I tried to start a new one. But yeah, let's go like I think Renaissance art. Yeah, okay, boom. Like right there. Right there. See how you just find them so fast? I even started a new Pinterest and I came across it right away. So what you're looking for is like what is this? Like the epic iconic Renaissance art. What you're looking for is like an intense emotion. And I think eyes, like something about eyeballs like are very intense. This one could like this would represent like just a beautiful piece of art. And it's kind of in the same world. This one kind of, and what we're doing here is we're just scanning through all these, and like we're just picking the best ones. And like how do you, it's a selection process. There's another one if you go to that Wanchi has come across like right there 2 months ago, 11,000 views. So like these just work like this. Yeah, and it's just for later in the video, I go over like some of these common themes that you see over and over that are successful, and they just bring out strong emotions in people. So we're looking for like, what's the most intense thing? I'm sure there's been a type beat like this that has 100,000 views. I'm sure something like this one has like a ton of views. So, but let's go Renaissance. Let's try to like find a few more art. Let's see Greek statue maybe. Let's see what we can get there. See what we come across there. That, I mean, like that gives me like type beat vibes, like in this like classical is it Baroque? Let's try Baroque art. That's a little like darker. But some of these would like this, so we'll get to the next style. And this has like, this feels very much like the next style I'm talking about. But like Renaissance art statue. Yeah, so this one's interesting. I could see this one being like a type beat vibe. This is like, yeah, so the like, see, you start to get into the vibe just like that, like that one, and then you could do some Photoshop modifications of like, yeah, drawing the lines, like something like odd and weird and eye catching, like that also works well. Like just the fact that it's like the statue, then the human lips. I don't. It's just odd. This would probably work well for a type beat. Um, this would work hard, but this would work good, but I don't know. Like it's not the right vibe. I think it would attract the wrong people, in my opinion. You're just trying to attract the right customers, and like this is like, I see this beat. It's like an epic, like iconic, like gonna be like a crazy intense, like orchestral, whether that's synth or real instruments, and just like it's gonna be like just big, if that makes sense. Yeah, and it'll be interesting what we get into later of like, you're gonna see common themes that work for type beats over and over, and I'm gonna give you a list of them at the end. Like fire explosions are one. These statues are one. Like the blacking out the eyes are another one. Kind of in that style, and you just see these, it's like you might as well take advantage of them because they just work. Like they make people feel like it's a type beat, they recognize it immediately, and it's been like it signals it's like the dopest like type beats. It's just a strong, intense emotion, which is what we're going for. We're trying to make them feel something visually to get them to click and feel something good, and like represent that our beat is the highest quality, and then have that be our whole aesthetic as well. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Is like, I think it's this probably is actually the Baroque art, I think. So this is like a more classical music based one. Here's an example of it. This one's really fire, no pun intended. But like that one is like my favorite thing. I think you have the best thumbnail ever if you can hear the music when you see the visual. Like to me, that's like a Metro Boomin crazy beat, like, but like violin based, like classical music flipped into this like crazy hard trap beat. That's the vibe I get from that. And that's another, there's like a classical music aesthetic I think that works really well, that someone could like kind of build their channel off of. Yeah, that's another one I like. You just hear it, like, I'm sure it's flute based. There we go. Like if you're an artist and you like flutes, you're like, that is gonna that's gonna catch you immediately. And this is like, Wanchi does this channel, and who I worked with one-on-one. We came up with a style together, and it's super fire. And you can see that we have 13 videos and almost 600,000 views. So it's like, what was it, 580? Yeah, so he averages 44,000 views per video. I mean, of course, it's like in his top beats, but yeah. But I mean, each one, he almost averages like 10 on his worst beats. And so this is like the classical, let's say, Baroque style artwork. And so like, you kind of have to learn these artwork styles. That's like a good way to come up with your aesthetics. So like, yeah, so you type in Baroque art aesthetic. I mean, that would work. I think the heart, that would be a good one. Obviously, he's used that one. So, and then you just like, for Pinterest, this is what everyone does. They click. Okay. Got that one. I think the heart on fire is like fire. It's like, is some emotion there. We're not sure. It's like interesting. That one could be interesting. Also, like classical music. I mean, this just like, I just threw a bunch of words at it here. So yeah, you're gonna get like stuff like that, stuff like that, stuff like that. The harp was also like a good one. Like if it's like a crazy piano one, use that one. So that's an example of an aesthetic, and it can work really well. Like that's a strong type B aesthetic. Let's see what we got next. So spiritual, this one's interesting. So Okay, so for like the spiritual stuff, like Encore does this stuff really good. Um, like that one is like praising, like that's a strong emotion, and this is like if you kind of have like spiritual, more like gospel influenced beats, like intense gospel, like they do very well. Um, and it's like that's all spiritual. We'll get to like the beams are a really good thing to do if you can. Another beam right there, 82,000 views. Fire. I mean that's a minute ago, but yeah. So like yeah, this like spiritual category. And then like that's a good one. I just saw this like artwork the other day. It's got like the eyeball that's really strong, and then like the cross. The cross is another symbolism that like just very good for beats. Like it just feels like it's going to be an intense emotion. And even like you can apply this to like artist stuff. Like there's Kendrick with the crown. Like Kendrick with the crown is going to do really good if you're doing a Kendrick type beat. But yeah, this is just like the spiritual artwork, and it's kind of like can be dark. Let's go to Pinterest again. Spiritual. Wait. Yeah. Yeah, so now let's like this is how we discover it. You just go into Pinterest, you type in something like that, click on the cross. Let's see. So sometimes you got to like shake your algorithm out of what it was. So what if I just say like dark cross? Okay, so yeah, now you'll start to get into like some vibes. Some of these ones get a little like spooky. Um, but like you could see like a Weekend type beat, Kanye type beat. You keep digging into some like uh you probably like that. I mean, that could be a crazy beat. Some of these are like a little wild, and then you'll start to see like the themes of like crows and like that, but that's like kind of dark gospel aesthetic. You don't have to go dark either. um let's see. Yeah, and like what you do is you just like start scanning. um you see which ones like kind of make sense for your channel. Sometimes those ones can be interesting. The Christ Redeemer statue. Um, and that's like kind of a crazy one. That could be a crazy one. That could be a crazy one. Like, um, so yeah, I mean, this is what you do. You just start clicking. You just get close to the visual thing, and like sometimes this could take like an hour or two. And see that I mean, see, so you start to see ones like Producer X. I'm sure I've seen a variation of that one on it. Like, so that one's kind of reminds me of it, but um, yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen this on YouTube before. I've seen this one. Um, like I think you'll see if like I've seen that one. I've seen that one. You'll just see as you start like going through them. There's the beam again. There's another one that reminds me of like Kanye stage. So yeah, you'll just see all these art styles. So And the better you get at categorizing them and getting names for it, like the Baroque and the classical, um, the the better images you're gonna pick. And remember, you're just gonna what like artists like are gonna recognize a certain style of thumbnail as a certain type of beat. So you don't want to like. I think I saw one of these. Like that one would probably attract a certain type of artist, but it's not to me. It's like not going to be the artist that's going to spend money on a beat. So, just like kind of you got to connect it to the market, and bring in the right people. And that's all you're doing. That's what you're doing here. Okay, cool.